Does he leave Reims after the season? Does he go anywhere else? And if so, where?
Well, he's on loan, so he would have.
Oh,
to
sorry,
leave.
sorry. I mean Arsenal. If he like, does he leave Arsenal? Does he try to fight for a spot?
Yeah,
Where
you
does he
leave
go if
Arsenal.
not
If you're
Arsenal?
if you're keeping Jesus and Eddie Nketiah, you leave Arsenal. If they sell Nketiah, then maybe Falcon gets that nice chance of being a backup, which I think wouldn't be terrible.
Mm.
But with that being said, that's if they cash in on Eddie, and if they don't, then
I
you have
mean,
to leave because you're not going to get.
I doubt
he
they do.
could. He could. I also doubt they do. But I mean, he could get some game time. I mean, they do need the squad depth because they do have Champions League now.
I'd rather
So
he
they
go to
might
like Crystal
need it.
Palace and start.
Yeah,
for them.
I'm.
Yeah.
Crystal Palace. That's I could see that. I mean, Crystal
What was the
Palace. I don't know. It was
reaction?
just so random. It was just so random. I was not expecting.
Not
him to
West
say
Ham, that's
Crystal
for
Palace.
sure.
I don't want him. Thank you very much. But I don't know. I feel like trying to think of like a personal perspective. I'd leave. I'd go on loan again maybe. I don't know. I feel like game time would be good for his
I think
development,
Arsenal
especially
would
if he wants to establish himself.
I think Arsenal should cash in on him, and I think they'll sell him.
His value has definitely risen by millions, like up by a lot of money after the season.
Yeah.
Not only because of his performance in Ligue 1, which is one of the best performances we've ever seen for someone of his age, and the hype about. I said one of.
Sorry.
D. Holy smokes! Holy smokes!
I didn't hear you. My bad.
Oh, I lost my train of thought. Oh, and the hype of him becoming a USA player has definitely, because any team that signs him gets that market, gets that attention.
Yeah, that's right.
This was the case with we've talked about this before a long time ago, but like Christian Pulisic. I mean, any American player, you can say, but he goes anywhere, he gets that, he brings. Oh, Leeds. We're talking about Leeds.
Oh, Weston McKennie and Tyler Adams.
Weston McKennie, Tyler Adams, and Brendan Aronson. Yeah. He brings that with it, and I think I don't stay at Arsenal. I don't. Arsenal cashes in on him. He goes not on loan, but he just goes somewhere else, makes his name for himself over there. Could do another stint or another loan in France because it obviously suits him. He's obviously developing well over there.
Or Reims buys him.
Yeah, but I think Arsenal are going to ask way too much for him because they know. Like, especially because they saw like hey, we see that you guys, like what he did for you guys are going to have to pay us a premium.
That's true.
So I don't know.
It'd be cool to see him in a Prem League just so he can establish himself as an actual proper striker in terms of he can get it done in the big leagues in terms of competition wise. Because I mean, France League 1 is in the.
I could see Prem. I could see Prem. If I'm him. I mean, I'm sure I want to go to the Prem, although I don't know if it's the smartest idea to go to the Prem, because you have one good season in Ligue 1 doesn't translate well. It doesn't always. I mean, there's been numerous people who have come from one to the other and not done well. I mean, look at Lacazette. Lacazette didn't do that hot at Arsenal, and he's back in Ligue 1 banging out. I think in a Bundesliga move. I think a Bundesliga move would be nice. Like if he not Bayern, not Dortmund. No, it's no point. There's no point in going somewhere you're going to be a backup at this point.
I agree.
You want, especially him. Salzburg is in Austria, so that's a completely different league.
Bro, but what am I? Oh Leipzig. My God, Leipzig. That's what I meant. Oh,
I still wouldn't go Leipzig.
Leipzig would be really cool. I think.
I still wouldn't do Leipzig.
Okay. I like the Red Bull system. I don't know about it though. A team that might be a shout. Union Berlin.
Oh,
Union Berlin.
Definitely
He goes over there. I mean, they have made the name for themselves over the past couple seasons like crazy. I mean, they were in the title race for a long time.
Yeah.
And he goes over there. If they can keep it up, I mean, he helps them maintain that. That brings the American market, which they'll love, especially because of how small of a club they are. I don't think he will. Again, I don't think they have the funds to purchase him. But Union Berlin, I could see, would be a cool shout for Balogun.
That's a good shout. I like that.
I like it. I don't know of anywhere else in the Bundesliga that I think I mean, I'm sure there's plenty of teams you'd fit in and do good at.
Leverkusen.
Leverkusen, I like that as well.
I like
Leverkusen with Diaby on the wings. That'd be nice.
Mean, they had a pretty good run in the Europa League, so
yeah, they did decent.
But I don't think they're in
You know what?
any European leagues this year because
I could see. Yeah, you're right. I'm pretty sure. I could see a Serie A move too. The two leagues I don't think he should go to are Prem or La Liga. Just for playstyle purposes. If he goes to Serie A, if he pulls an Ozyman and like does what Ozyman's doing over there, I don't know what team, I don't know what club, but if he could go to a Roma, Jose Mourinho did really good with Tammy Abraham. He's doing pretty solid over there.
Yeah.
If Ozyman leaves this summer, you could replace him with Balogun.
Swap.
Well, I don't,
Oh,
no,
okay,
not a swap, not a swap.
No, you know
but,
what I mean. Like,
but and
Yeah.
not replace because he's not going to do the same thing. But and they're different players, but you can bring Balogun in and kind of like nurse him into the Ozyman kind of role that he played.
I think that's jumping. I think that's Napoli's too big yet. Yeah, at this point, my opinion, it's too big of a jump. This is. I think we need to take it slower, especially to want to keep his development going. A place at Napoli, you could easily, especially if they want to keep these demands that they're having this season. I think that would be a high demand from him, and I'm not saying he can't do it, but I'm saying it's a little risky on his part. I would rather go somewhere else.
Yeah, go ahead, Josh.
I was gonna say you don't want to pull a situation where he's hot and then he goes to a bigger club and then drops off, a little bit.
Well,
I mean, Pulisic isn't really his
is a
fault per
completely
se,
different. Yeah,
but like I'm just saying, like a similar situation in which you go big, you start well, and then you start like slowly fade away, if that makes sense. Because like they bring in other players, you get injured, stuff like that. You don't want to. You want to ensure that you're gonna be able to have a longevity with the club for a little bit, so you can establish yourself and be supported, and you're kind of like their key player instead of like wanting to replace you a few times, or like you get injured, there's someone next, you have to work your way back, stuff like that. So like I feel like you don't want to go too big.
I mean, I agree. I almost fully agree. However, I do think. Okay, so with Napoli at least, I don't know how much you guys are keeping up with it. Their manager is really thinking about leaving this summer.
Yeah.
He leaves. Wouldn't be surprised if Ozyman leaves too, because he doesn't have the manager that made him who he is, today. Ozyman leaves. Then it frees up Balogun, frees up a new manager, frees up a new play style, that kind of thing. Another team I kind of want to shout here too, who is really good at developing young players, especially recently, and they've gotten to very high heights, is AC Milan. If you can bring him to AC Milan, I think that's really good too. They have an aging striker core. I mean, it's Zlatan, Giroud, and Origi.
Okay, so wait, hold on. We have different ideas here because you're going teams bigger than I'm thinking.
Well, no, okay. So
he's dreaming. Let him dream.
No,
I'm for the man.
I think these teams would be good for him to go to succeed and develop in. This is why for me AC Milan is honestly better than Napoli, and I wish I said that first because then editing would be a lot better. But he goes to AC Milan. Right, learns under one of the best strikers of our generation, and that's Zlatan, right? As well as Giroud, who are different strikers, but help him out. As well as Origi. Origi has a lot of experience under his belt. You have Brahim Diaz on the wing, Rafael Leao on the other wing. They might get Christian Pulisic. That is a big name they're looking at getting. That's an American link right there too. So I think maybe not necessarily the starting role right away, but starting role within half a season or a season. And you put him in there. I know it's far fetched, but it's like I'd rather him go there than a mid-table Prem team personally.
I'm not against him being a backup at all. It's just a backup that gets playing time, and I think being any team that bets on him to be a starter is going to be taking too big of a risk.
Yeah,
not that I don't want him to succeed, but come on, like Ligue and reims is much different than AC Milan, where the fans or demands are higher and the football is faster, and like you just need to be at a higher level. I'm not against him being a backup though. I thought you were talking about starter. I understand you said within half a season he could be, and sure that's that's a different discussion. But I kind of want him. If you want to go to Milan or Napoli, that's cool. But like in Napoli, I don't think he can be a starter. I think that's too much, too soon.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's why I said the whole nursing thing. I said nurse him into that role.
Well, at Napoli, if you're losing Osimhen, you don't have a.
Well, but Osimhen, but like Napoli's different though, because it's not like going to AC Milan and Zlatan teaches you, and Osimhen takes that Zlatan role, because Osimhen doesn't know much. He's just good. He hasn't experienced much yet. He can't take on that leading role as much as Zlatan could. But you go to the same team that produced Ozyman, and those coaches, fitness, manager, whatever, then they can help Balogun, is what I mean, and nurse him into the role that Ozyman kind of took. I seriously there's very few strikers in the world that will ever reach the heights that Ozyman is reaching right now. And not saying Balogun could be one of them, but he could be a decent replacement in the end, and then give him 2-3 seasons, and then he moves to the Premier League and gets his time. But I'm looking at development and game time. And these are both, in my opinion, the three I mentioned, three decent teams that he could play for, get playing time while learning amongst the world's greats, and then shine elsewhere if he really wants to.
I can't completely agree, but I understand your point of view. I get what you're saying, but I'm kind of I can't completely agree with that, but I get what you're saying.